Hello friends, and welcome to episode 6 of the space exploration playthrough. So, I looked around and I felt quite happy while looking around. Why? Because somehow things are pretty normal now. We're almost looking at a normal starter base here. Only with some really funky research apparatuses, but that's really the weirdest thing I produced so far. Apart from that, we're now getting closer to the usual next steps, so I'm starting to research wildly because I have enormous amounts of science. And yeah, overall, the strain on the materials is quite high, so it's time to input new material sources today and think about the proper expansion of the base. I didn't produce steam engines in my mall, didn't I? Well, that's not really something to call a mall after all. So we're going to get us some steam engines and boilers and get this job done. But before we can do that, I guess I have to wait until a few of my factory jobs have been finished. But, you know, I don't. We're going to pick up this stuff over here. Ruthlessly, shamelessly plundering. Well, there we go. Is this new that I have a blue suit? Or did I have the blue suit from the to begin with? Well, so these fuel processors, I do have 2 more of those available, don't I? I want more. Also, I want to increase my energy production, and I want to have some more turrets to defend them. So let's get back to the base. Do I have any area where I produce ammo yet? I don't. Yeah, well, most of the time I don't have ammo in my starter base concepts. I forgive myself for that. I want to have a few mining drills though, because I feel like we're going to need them. Apart from that, stuff I'll need as well. More belts. More belts. Let's go. And for the other parts, I seem to have enough for the time being. Okay. So the only thing I'm lacking now is the turrets and the ammo, but like I just noticed, it's nothing I can fix real quick. Okay. So first off, I want to pick up some of these fuel processors and use them. How many inserters does this thing really use? Well, let's see how this will work out. I mean, ultimately it's just the same thing here as before. Just expand my fuel resources by another 10%. So there we go. This is only going on one side of the belt, doesn't it? So does the shift N work here as well? Okay, not really. Shift L? No. No? Okay, so we have to build a little something here. Just to get the stuff on the other side of the belt as well. Okay. Let's get some more boilers and stuff. I have enough materials. So I'll get one of those. Let's see, if I didn't count wrong, we should be okay here. So let's see. 2. What's that? I just want to expand my power production before I get into trouble because I have not enough steam engines connected at the moment. Just do something before the need arises. There we go. So, let's see. I want to check out if the space is enough. So that's 6, there goes 8, there goes 10. So I don't think that this will be enough. 1. So this would be the full array on this side. Look at that. Marvelous. As if I had it in my mind here. Wow. I'm really surprised that this went so well. Okay. Enough for that. For now, we have our little power upgrade. That's all I wanted. And... oh, I forgot. This was not all I wanted. So I'll be back with more iron in my pocket. Overall, I feel like this mod pack has a pretty high demand on base materials, but that's okay. I feel like the vanilla progression of the game is too quick anyways, so I'm completely okay with that. So, I'm gonna get me some iron plates. Again, shamelessly plundering my array here. There we go. Let's drop some iron ore in here. And apart from that, I'll get 2 of those. Oh, I have some more ammo in my pocket. Wonderful. So this area down here needs defense as well. And so does the generator array. Okay, let's just hope the biters won't get there before me. And they won't eat my premises. So let's go for that. Go for that. Ooh, that was too much. I happen to have one more, don't I? Just noticed that. Reduced them in between and then I forgot to drop them down. Well, seriously? We're short of 1 pipe now? Oh, the pipe doesn't get done yet. It didn't get done yet, and there's still the turrets in the way. Okay, so overall this works out as intended. I'm completely fine with the fuel, what's it called, with the fuel refining here. I might be considering bringing up 1 more fuel processor. I mean, as far as I understand it, it won't hurt to have 2 or 3 too many of those. It's just simply that I don't want to end up with too little resources there, only because I was lazy, you know, or not enough resources is the wrong term. Not enough power is much more what I'm afraid of. There we go. But this should be definitely enough. There goes fluid handling. Let's go for the medium electric pole technology. Just all the little good things. And all the little good things are also some turrets back at home. So I'm going to grab some bricks here too. Just a handful. Okay. Because I realized that it's a real pain to walk here. So we're going to replace this painful floor with something good, you know. Just little by little, I guess. But it really annoyed me when I noticed how huge the change is, the difference is between this floored ground and this stuff here. It's quite huge, and I'm really considering to yeah, let's do that. We're going to get us some box of bricks. So all the stuff we don't need gets accumulated down here. That's good. Ultimately, this will be a place where I can go to grab some flooring, which is exactly what I want to have right now. Okay, but what I also wanted to have was some kind of defense. There we go. Just want to make sure that the gun turret defense covers the whole base. So these are still fuel-driven laboratories. I've got to keep that in mind. So there's still one flank open. You see, there's a lot of spots where we're still attackable, but I'm going to solve these problems in the time being. Definitely going to need a bigger smelter array. That's one of the most glaring issues, I think. There's such a visible lack of iron plates in the whole system here. So I'm starting to grab a few of these as well, because I want to exchange the fuel in my laboratories as soon as possible. Let's pick it all up. Can toss in the coal back into the fuel processors here. There we go. So that should be enough to give those laboratories some fuel, because I will use those for quite some longer time. So I want to grab out the lower quality fuels and replace them with good quality fuels. It's even better, the the processed fuel even stacks to a higher extent, to 100 units per stack, compared to the coal. That's a big advantage too. And at this site here, I just dropped the coal into the processors and getting this done easy, efficient. Now we're just picking up some more fuel cans. I know it's a little bit of a tedious work right now, but these are quite important little steps. And after I'm done with all this, I'll be having a constant surplus of carryable fuel with me for my own furnaces or whatever is on my mind. So there we go. You see? Now the laboratories have all the fuel they need, and we are donezo. And additionally here, Stone Brick Army gets done. So as you see, I put the bricks on a really big cursor here because I was tired of doing small steps. We're doing larger steps here. Okay, speaking about larger steps, it is time to think about the proper working with copper and iron and all these things. So this iron patch here is overall a quite small thing. And in this run, considering how far we will get, I really want to turn up a large-scale resource buffer here, especially with the primary resources of iron, copper, and stone and coal. So it turns out that the most accessible iron patch I notice seems to be this big boy down here. But is this really everything? Wow. What a brutal planet this is. Yeah, seriously. The real nasty thing about that is it's a little bit early in the game to go for a fully fledged train network. Going for trains and stuff like that is, without the proper technology, not that effective at all. So, and this is already, well, it's not really train distance, but it's going to make the early game smeltering completely dependent of this iron ore patch here, because this is just too far away for the moment. I'll get that when I have my mall up and running, but beforehand, I don't think so. So there's the huge coal patch I plugged into already. On this side of the map, there seems to be nothing useful before we hit the coast. So this is really some... Maybe my expansion idea of the factory is a bad one to begin with. Like, I wanted to expand into this direction, but now that I look at it, the only things dwelling over here are a pretty good supply of oil and coal. So that's that. Thanks, I have already coal and oil. Well, the oil we will need, but if I look at other directions, they seem to be more promising. I definitely want to check out what's into this direction, because if I go south, I already notice here copper, iron, copper, stone, coal, oil. So I think the expansion direction of the base will be, as a matter of fact, southwards. After all the scanning, this direction doesn't seem too appealing to me. So that means our main bus will run southwards. It's always quite important to know the direction your main bus wants to travel. So, okay. We have made up our direction. That means the basic smelteries will be maybe even somewhere in this vicinity. There's a lot of cliffs in this base as well. This is really not an easy terrain I chose there. Okay. But I don't want to sound ungrateful. I do like this place. What do we research next? The tool belt, I don't think that's going to be that important. Concrete, not too important either. Projectile damage, always good. Because there is one thing I really want to set up again, and that's my ammo factory. The ammo factory is just that important, you know. There are so many biters I need to get rid of during the next time to get towards my resources. But anyways, we're going to set up a larger scale production of iron plates. So let's set up a little Helmod recipe to achieve that. So for iron plates, I want 15 of them in a second. And whoa, what do we have here? Deep space transport belts. Late game. Okay, but we're going to need 48 furnaces. So that's 2 times 24. Pretty big array. What a pity. We could do that with only 24 steel furnaces. Well, whatever, we're going to get through this. So we're having here already 22 of these guys. So tell you what, I really consider the following. We have a equal input here anyways, so I'm going to expand this little situation here into a fully fledged iron smeltering array. For now, it's quite cool, and maybe I'm going to relocate the smeltering column, but maybe this will just be where my first iron smeltery will live, or the copper smeltery. I don't know yet, but it's looking quite good. Alright, so if I want to replicate that, I want to go for something like this. We have the output guys on this, the input guys on that. And we're going to need our fuel on this side. Okay. So I'm going to start with a full 15 unit belt array for my first smelter, which will be surprisingly living in my starter base. But my idea, if everything works out like I want it to, will go like this. I'll just connect this smelter later into the main bus. Right now the smelter array gets connected into the starter base, and later we're just going to plug it into the main bus. That's the plans here. There's still a lot of trees in the way. Some turret as well. And still one furnace lacking. So we're going to drop down the yellow inserters first, but I can already tell. Wait a sec, we can't. In this, is this normal that you can't build things over trees and such? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I do like that feature though. So like I thought, we're out of inserters now. We're out of a lot of other things as well. So let's get the wood electric poles. But I mean, at least we're getting things done here. Or do we? Okay, so turns out my inserter stockpiles are devastated by the science production. Okay. Well, whatever. No, not whatever. This is horrible. I'm going to at least plunder the burner inserters. And then I'm going to plunder some wood ores. Wow. So can I grab myself some electric motors somewhere? Or is that not really realistically possible? No. There's also a large shortage of copper here. I really want to change that. I mean, sure, we're just relying on these burner inserters here. Burner mining drills here the whole time. It's not exactly high-tech nor efficient. Okay, we're going to do something about this now. At least I want to maintain the old order here. There it goes. Alright. And turns out I need more processed fuel as well. And turns out we're not producing enough fuel, or do we? No, we're just not producing enough coal. That's what these guys are unhappy about. Okay, there's the first iron miner getting depleted. Well, well. But up there should be everything processed fuel, you think? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to deploy some more coal miners here. This mining operation will always stay kind of funky. And it means that this patch was a very weird thing to begin with. So I don't assume that this whole operation will ever run particularly smoothly, you know. So let's plug these boyos in and see what'll happen. Alright. They should be at least producing enough coal for the time being that going to produce enough processed fuel to satisfy my needs for the moment there. I mean, I prolonged the chain for quite a nasty... I lengthened the chain for quite a nasty amount of belt there. Might have been some trouble with filling that up. But also I noticed that I'll need a lot more miners to get this smelter array up and running. So I'm going to give this thing already some power. I mean, there's nothing happening yet because I only have the fuel inserters down, but there we go. Now I'm giving them the ore they need. And just like that, I'm going to deplete all the iron ore this little mining operation digs in. Pretty sure. But that's no problem because my potential here can be expanded. So I'm going to drop down these guys here. Well, I'm going to mine it out here as well. Probably head over this way here. Alright, let's see how I can connect those guys. We're having this. And I'm going to pipe that into a splitter here. And we're going to build a balancer later on, because we're going to need it. And here we're going to snuggle this stuff through here. And then I'm going to drop another mixer here, splitter here. And now we're going to drop one down here. And let's do a nice little... I did something wrong there, didn't I? Yeah, looks like that. Can be a little bit more compact if you want to. Okay, let's just give those guys a little bit more power. And next up will be the copper production. Because this joke of a copper production here is, well... It's that kind of cynicism that actually hurts, you know? Okay. Let's check out the power consumption. We're all good. There's still material flowing in. So how many miners do we sport here? About 50. That's way more than this array can tackle. This array would be only able to tackle 30 of those miners. But due to the fact that these items will... that these miners will run empty at some point, I'm completely okay with them having too much produced in the meantime. So here, also talking about too much produced, we're having here those inserters backing up at this point. But I think the real problem so far seems to be a severe lack in copper production, and let's change that. I want some more of those burner mining drills, basically because they are so damn good at extracting the copper at the most impossible plots. But what I don't want anymore is that, wait a sec, these guys can't connect like here. This must be disconnected here. So, can't allow to let ore get into the chain here. So this stuff has to be refined. There we go. Need a spot for the furnaces here. So we're going to pick up the furnaces here. And they're going to drop that stuff in here, and we're going to drop out that stuff here. I just want to make sure that I'll deplete this little deposit here as hard as I can, because it'll haunt me if I don't, if you get my idea. So I want another one of those. Let's connect the power like here. And get those guys up here. It's a really wacky design I have here up and running, but I am okay with it because it fulfills my needs at the moment. Okay. So, another burner mining drill. Well, I don't want to produce another of those. So, there we go. This weird array will be over once the mini patch here got depleted. But, well, I just wanted to deplete this little patch here as well. It's too good to leave it like that, you see. And it's not going to take too much longer until we're done with that. Okay, so that's that. I have a little bit of increased iron production at this point, and now we're going to think about the future expansions. So with this amount of iron input, I have the option of building another smelter column, but I won't do that because I want to produce copper now in a larger scale as well. So that's the next project. And this is going to live over here at this little copper ore patch. Let's check it out. What do I need apart from that? I'd really like to see some more electric poles. Well, in the long run, I'm going to do everything with these iron electric poles because they are the precursor item to the larger poles. So ultimately, we won't be using the wood poles anymore. But for now, there's so much wood lying around everywhere, blocking my path, and I don't have the hand grenades yet to cleanse that away with blasting power, so I'll rather collect that wood and transform it into something useful to begin with. So I'm just collecting some more wood to get my production rolling. So I guess this is one of those scenarios where I will transform my starter base somehow into the starter block of my actual factory. Well, oh there. You see, there's already the first guy empty. It's exactly what I had expected here. There are so many micro patches here that it's only a question of time until they run dry real quickly. So I have a lot of science packs in my pocket. Wow, hundreds. So okay. So, well, I'm going to steal these goods from my scientific facility here. some more stones down. Just want to be able to move quicker here. The standard ground on the alien biomes here is really slowing me down too hard. Okay, let's go deeper through the weapon shooting speed. And looks like I'm going to need more processed fuel. So I really start considering putting this stuff into a box where I can loot it manually. So this little copper patch here will be what I'm going to pick up for my copper production, at least for the beginning of that. But to begin, we're going to deplete this little spot here a little bit longer. Okay. There we go. So, next up is the minor dropping of this thing here. Also, I really need to think about where my copper smelter will live. Ultimately, I think it would be way smarter to change this smelter in the long run into a copper smelter. And I think I'm going to do that. But this will also mean that I can't just proceed like I want to for the time being, because I'll just have one copper and one iron smelter now at this spot here. And later on, I'm going to change something about that. And also, I notice that there's one poor guy left out. Okay. So I'm going to end this episode here at this point. We're going to drop down the copper production in the next episode and hopefully get this little array here, this little base, running a little bit more smoothly. Well, I do enjoy this run so far pretty much. We're getting somewhere. I mean, the little problems get solved, like problem zones like these. Although I do like what I did with this spot here, because usually these areas are really painful to exploit, but it's working out quite fine. So feel free to drop me a comment down below to tell me what you think. I always like to hear from you guys, and also like this video, share it with your friends, or even subscribe to my channel if you want to be a real supporter. Whatever might be the case, I hope you had your fun and come back for the next episode when we're grasping for the stars. Well, it's going to take a few more episodes until we get there, but we're going to get there. See you guys next time. Goodbye.